What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Jenks Podcast. Today, scouting report ranking our top 6 tight ends in this upcoming draft. Let's get right into it.
Welcome to the Jenks and the Hammer Podcast, bringing you the latest NFL news and insights from the perspectives of two die-hard fans. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some football talk with Jenks and the Hammer.
Here we go. Getting right into our tight end scouting report. So number 6 is going to be Erick All out of Iowa. He's 6'4", 252. Good size on the guy. A big thing for him to note is that he's had 2 season-ending injuries back-to-back before he came into this draft, and including last season. So he's going to be coming into the season, coming back from injury. I know that's always tough for guys, especially a leg injury like he had. And a guy like him, the notes I really have for him, he has good route running and he has solid blocking. That's kind of the base for if you want to make it to the NFL, you at least have to have decent blocking. His hands are questionable and can use a little bit of work, but a guy like this coming from Iowa, Iowa is tight end university, so we have him up on this list because he has the possibility and size to be a decent tight end 3 in the NFL. That's kind of what I think he might end up being, and my projection for him is day 3. So Erick All, not terrible. But in comparison to the top 4 guys in this list, these 6th and 5th guys aren't nearly as good. So that's why our list is a little bit smaller as well.
Yeah, number 5, Cade Stover from Ohio State, 6'4", 247 pounds. The good, he snaps off routes pretty well, good footwork, makes contested catches, has a wide base as a blocker, quick as a blocker, can make guys miss in the open field, and has good run after the catch ability. The bad, he's got to be more physical as a blocker. If you're going to make in this league, that's just key. That's asked of all tight ends. And he's got to maintain top speed in routes. Sometimes he slows down, and it can make the DB jobs a little easier to cover them. On the combine, he had a total score of 76, which was 5th among tight ends. He was 5th in production and 10th in athleticism. He ran a 4.65 40. His RAS score was 8.33. His comparison, Jake Ferguson, and I got him going day 3, kind of probably round 5 if I had to really staple around. But yeah,
these last 2 tight ends are pretty late. These last 2 tight ends are kind of like a toss up between a lot of guys. Like it's just kind of, there's not a clear 5 or 6 in my opinion. I don't think there's anything crazy. These top 4 guys though are on really the guys that you want to pay attention to. So number 4, a guy that is very, very interesting to me. Like he's got a possibility to be a star in the NFL, but he's not a top 2 round pick, top 3 round pick because he's a tight end. Like that's just how it is. Theo Johnson out of Penn State. He's 6'6", 260, and get this, he ran a 4.5 740, 40-inch vert. He has an RAS score of 9.99, and as Hammer and I both know, the RAS score is key, especially when it comes to a few different NFL teams. Our teams being 2 of those. The Saints and the Packers love RAS scores, and you've seen it in the Saints draft classes. When they have a good RAS score, they go up their boards 100%. A guy like Theo Johnson fits a lot of needs for the Saints. I'll say that really quick, just because that's that kind of like that red zone threat kind of tight end that the Saints need. So the good for Theo Johnson, he has insane possibilities with the size. He's decent at the point of attack when blocking, does a great job. He had a great Senior Bowl. He was invited to Senior Bowl, had great tape. A lot of guys and a lot of NFL teams took note of him. I guarantee you he went up a lot of draft boards at the Senior Bowl. And I think the biggest note for him is his contested catch ability. If there's a ball, it's a 50-50 ball. He comes down with it maybe 75-80% of the time. And that's key in that, and a 50-50 ball. It's no longer that 50-50 ball that you're used to being. It's an 80-20 ball. And in the NFL, that's huge. As a bigger guy, I want to see more aggression and better performance as a run blocker. I think that's something that he can work on, sort of like the guy that I'm going to compare him to. And he's nothing crazy with the ball in his hands. He's not going to be a yak guy like a few other guys on this list.
Like Cade Stover.
Yeah, Cade Stover. Yeah, big yak guy over there. So anyways, Theo, my comparison for him is Jimmy Graham. And I don't think he's going to be Jimmy Graham, but he can reach at least some speck of the skill that Jimmy Graham has, and he can succeed in the NFL. Jimmy Graham, mentor this guy if you can. But anyways, that's why I want him for the Saints in the 4th round, 3rd round, 4th round. If he falls to you there, even in the 5th, that's a steal. Because he fits a lot of the needs the
He's
Saints
not
have
gonna.
as
I
a
don't
red
think he's
zone
gonna
threat.
fall that. He's not gonna fall
Yeah, I
that
think he
far.
goes 3rd, 4th. I think it's the 3rd, 4th pick.
Yeah.
But I mean, just his red zone capabilities are going to be amazing in the NFL if a team picks him up and actually uses him in the role that he's meant to be. If someone picks him up and says, "Oh, he's going to be a run blocker," obviously, like that's not what he is. So that's my notes. Jimmy Graham, part 2, just lesser.
Part
That's
2.
my
Yep. Hope he's got hope he's just ounce a little bit just better run blocker than Jimmy Graham. But yeah,
hey. Jimmy worked on it this year. He did better. All right,
Jimmy Graham's
don't be hating. Don't be hating.
all right. Number 3, Ben Sinnott. Kansas State, 6'4", 250 pounds. The good speed, agility, especially when route running, but kind of just shows up all over the tape. Good yak, run after the catch. That's what we value here on the channel. Good feet, contested catches. The bad. He's got a bad point of attack when blocking. Pad level gets a little too high at times. He's got to work on putting his hands on outside. Sometimes they get around the guy. Penalties, draw because of that. Slow, active hands when going upstairs to catch balls, which kind of means late hands, kind of when going up to get a high ball. Which, if you don't have the best hands and quick hands, and they're going to be late, it's not too good. Total score of 80, which was 3rd among tight ends, 3rd in production, and 5th in athleticism. He ran a 4.68 40. His RES score was 9.49. And I got him as a day 2 guy. I think he's probably going 3rd round, probably 4th round. Again, these kind of 4 through 6 guys are kind of tough to predict. I kind of just see, they kind of just land where teams kind of value them, and the strengths and run blocking, or if it's the yak, or if it's the big body, or the red zone threat ability. So, tight ends are a tricky position, kind of predict where they end up. But yeah, he's number 3 on the list. And then number 2, we got Jatavion Sanders from Texas, 6'4", 245 pounds. The good. He's got great size, strength over the middle, which I mean by that, he's a big body. And the size helps him over the middle to take those hits. He's a tough guy to bring down. Good quickness when the ball's in his hands. Good hand placement when blocking. He can outrun the linebackers. He's got really strong hands. He needs to work on his strength when blocking. I think he's also got to work on his aggressiveness when blocking. And at times, he can kind of drift on routes. So his route running at times can be a little lazy. But overall, 2nd best tight end in this class. Total score of 84 from the combine, which was 2nd among tight ends, 2nd in production, and 9th in athleticism. He ran a 4.69 40, and his RES score was 8.06. His comparison is David Njoku, and I got him as an early 2nd rounder. He's going to be a 2nd tight end off the board. I think we all know who number 1 is. I think this guy goes, 2nd rounds, maybe to a team like Cincinnati. Let's say Brock Bowers, doesn't fall to them. I think Jatavion Sanders would be a great fit in Cincinnati. But yeah, definitely a round 2 guy.
And that's a good comp with David Njoku. Like, you can comp to that guy. That's impressive, especially with this year after David Njoku just balled out for the Browns. Next, at number 1, you got the Yak God, Brock Bowers, a guy in this draft that's viewed as generational, a guy in this draft that is viewed as a top 20 pick, a guy in this draft that belongs in the New Orleans Saints uniform. This guy, Brock Bowers, a lot good about him. This guy, anytime he touches the ball, you think he's going for a touchdown. Anytime he touches the ball, it's a catch. You see him one-hand catches left and right. You see him catching with a contested defender all over him. He's still bringing down the catch.
So if Jesus and Gronk and Tony Gonzalez had a baby, it's this guy. No, I'm kidding. That's the way you're phrasing it, though. But yeah, the kid's a stud. All right. I mean,
No, he's good. He's good. He had 7 touchdowns this year, 31 in his career, and he's 6'3", 243, coming out of Georgia. Most dominant pass catcher in this position group, and he's quick off the line, great footwork within his routes, uses his hands to catch the ball. That's a big point. He's not one of the guys that's going to let it go into his body. Like I said, it helps with contested catches, helps with his catching over the middle, just catch it in stride, keep running. The bad, I said he just needs to increase his size and strength a little bit in the NFL in case he wants to be a better run
yeah,
blocker.
yeah.
Um, he didn't participate in the combine and like the 40 things like that. He doesn't have an RES score documented right now, so I can't give that as either, but it would be up there. I guarantee it. My comparison and a lot of people's comparison is George Kittle. A little bit smaller than George Kittle, obviously. You see in this picture, he doesn't have the same exact size, but he has the same possibilities. He's a
Yeah.
guy that you could just plug and play and hope like he can instantly be impactful like George Kittle. He can block pretty damn well, and he has the tenacity to be a baller at the tight end position. Projection for him, top 15, round 1. I don't think he makes it to the Bengals. I think the Bengals might try to trade up. A team that if he falls at a top 10, it changes the whole entire Saints draft. As a Saints fan, it does. Because if you
So,
fall out of top 10, if you
so
fall out of
this,
top
so you value this guy higher than like a tackle, like one of the top tackles. Like let's say one of the top 3 tackles falls to you, and then Brock falls to you. Who are you going if you're a Saints fan?
I think you go Brock if you keep the pick. If not, so here's the thing. If he falls to you, then you could say, hey, Cincinnati, we're going to pick Brock or trade with us. Give us your 3rd round pick and your 1st round pick right now. So it's like the pick after him, 2 picks after them. And you can just trade back 2 spots, get a 3rd, maybe even a 2nd if they're desperate enough. Because this is Brock Bowers, generational talent. So it changes the way the whole entire Saints draft goes if he falls to you at 14. It's a huge, huge deal. But I think this guy's a stud, and he could change the Saints offense for the future if you pick him.
Yeah, this guy's an interesting guy. You've seen him mocked number 5 overall to the Chargers. You've seen him at number 9 to the Bears. You've seen him at number 10 to the Jets for Aaron Rodgers. I know Saints fans like Grayson want him. And, we keep on bringing up Cincinnati because Cincinnati has been trying to get a tight end for the longest time. They wanted
Yeah.
big body over the middle for Joe Burrow. And now, hey, T. Higgins wants to trade out of Cincinnati, right? Tyler Boyd likely not to return. Like they need weapons for him, and like this dude is, as we think, could be a generational type tight end. So like that's why we keep on saying Cincinnati. But yeah, if you just look at the picture, if you watch on YouTube, I mean, he's definitely got the build. I mean, he's got to put on weight, strength, but like he just looks like a freak athlete, and he's going to be an awesome player. And I'm really excited to see where he ends up. Taking a tight end that early is just, he's going to be a dude. So it's like, it's interesting. He could be a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
He could
If he
be
goes
top
like the
10,
Chargers,
top
like that's
15.
insane.
Yeah. And if he falls in the chart in the Cincinnati's lap at like, I think they're 18, 19, 20, something like that. That's
That'd be insane.
just a great value pick for them. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think that does it for tight ends. All in all, I just want to say like this draft, the tight end class isn't insane. It's not. These top 3, 4 guys are really the guys you want to watch out for. Like I think we both already said. But Brock Bowers, wherever he goes, is going to change the draft a lot. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and he will definitely be a good fantasy pickup, and we'll definitely talk more about that when he gets drafted, see who his quarterback is, the offense he is. We'll be breaking fantasy stock and all that for you guys over the summer, but that's going to do it for this episode. Top 6 tight ends in the 2024 draft. Thursday, this upcoming next episode, breaking down free agency, top signings, grading them. I'm pumped to do that. I'm pumped to see where all these guys end up. Hopefully Green Bay gets some guys. Xavier McKinney, come on now, boy. But yeah, next episode on Tuesday will be scouting report on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to be doing linebackers, inside backers, I believe. So I'm excited to do one. Excited to do that. Packers, a team that really need inside backers. So I am looking forward to it. But that's going to do it for this episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at JanksRPod. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube at JanksRPodcast. Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment who you guys want to draft out of these tight ends, or if you don't want any of them, or if we got the rankings wrong, please let us know. Have a good one, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.
It's all about the yak.
Thank you for tuning in to the Janks and the Hammer podcast. Remember to leave a review and follow all of our social media pages at Janks Hammer Pod for more content. Until next time, who dat and go Pack Go!